Hey y'all, hope you're doing well today. So it's morning right now for me, and I'm up a little bit earlier than normal and trying to get the wheels turning and get myself in gear this morning. And so I'm enjoying my coffee, and hopefully this will come across the way that I intend for it to. I'm actually excited about the message today because as I explore different topics and do my own digging just for myself, every now and then I will start putting some puzzle pieces together in a way that is very exciting for me. And so it's like it's where, when this happens, this process, I talk about it being exciting. It's like you want to share it. And so I'm hoping that in sharing this with you, that the details that I share with you will be very interesting. And also, I hope that it excites you and to want to do the same. Kind of like, you're going to see what I'm talking about, okay? It's a tactic that you can use, or an exercise or an activity that you can engage yourself in that that's just kind of enjoyable, really, especially if you like learning, which I do. So but essentially what we're doing is we're taking terms that are related to narcissism. And I view that, anything related to narcissism at all, it's the only reason we're even looking at it after we've left a situation where we were subjected to psychological abuse or a narcissistic relationship. After we've left that, the only reason we're even looking at concepts and terms and everything related to narcissism is just for that deeper understanding, right? So that we can ensure that we are never entrapped again, or fooled again, taken advantage of, exploited again. But at the same time, even though we're doing it for the right purposes, I still kind of view, this is just me, anytime I hear these terms, it's kind of like they're sour. They come off sour to me. You know what I mean? Like flying monkeys and different, all these different terms. It's kind of like, because you know what that's like you've lived it. So when you hear these terms, they're very personal to you, because it's like I say, I describe it very sour. So I'm going to play off that and kind of in our minds, we can view these terms and concepts related to narcissism as lemons, right? They're just sour. But you're very acquainted with them, unfortunately. So what we're going to be doing is taking those lemons, and you've heard the old saying, making lemonade from lemons, right? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But we're actually going to be taking it a step further and making like a really delicious, like orange creamsicle kind of drink, okay? Symbolically, metaphorically, which, by the way, is one of my favorite drinks to make at home. And I think I've shared this with you guys in the past, but you just take like some kind of, well, this is what I do. You could take Fanta orange or something like that, but to me, that's too sweet for the end result. So I enjoy something like Spindrift, or like a sparkling water that's flavored, very lightly flavored with tangerine or orange or something like that. And then you can add some sweet cream, like coffee creamer, in with it, and it's just so delicious and reminiscent of like the creamsicle pops when we were kids. And so I'm always trying to frame everything from a positive lens. And the cool thing is, I feel like what we're going to do today is going to prove to you that things can be framed through a positive lens without very much effort at all. And it's sort of, I haven't really gone down this rabbit hole yet, but I was kind of left with this thought after going through this exercise myself. And the thought I was left with was, it's almost like the only thing there really is in existence is truth. And the only reason we don't see it is because it's skewed sometimes. And those are the people that it's kind of like it brings a whole new light as to pulling the wool over our eyes. You know what I mean? In other words, making us think this other reality, just to kind of rope in yesterday's video, is the true reality, but it's not even on the same level. It's like just in the way. So when you just kind of lift that up, then you can see what truly is and always has been, which is the truth. And so it's hopefully you'll kind of see what I'm talking about by the time we get through this message. But essentially what we're going to be doing is like mirroring the concepts and terms from narcissism, right? From the negative to the positive, okay? So it's the same term, same word, but we're just looking deeper, and it's going to create this other perception in your mind of the deeper, truer meaning that's going to resonate like crazy. I mean, it did for me. All right, so this is, to me, an enjoyable exercise because we're engaging our intellect in an intelligent manner. Okay, it's an activity for the intellect, but we're doing it with purpose and with meaning and intention, and because of that, we're engaging in this with intelligence, and we're walking away having gained something. Gained a deeper level of understanding, which is crucial. It's one thing to say that you want to be positive in life or that you want to view things from that lens, but it's another thing to really put that into action and understand what that means. Like, that's what I've had to come to terms with. So this is a real activity you can do. And so another lens about this activity is thinking of like, and I had this happen when I was a kid. I went to one of my friend's houses. She was having a birthday party, and there was a lot of us girls there, and it was, I think, early summer, late spring, and they had not opened their pool yet, and it was just like they had uncovered it and it was murky and muddy and nasty, and they wanted to swim in it anyway, and I was like, that's nasty, I'm not getting in there. But they pushed me in anyway, and it was awful. And so it's kind of like you have that same water, okay? And like when you're talking about these terms we're going to be reviewing today, and they seem just sour and associated with negativity and muddy and murky, but the magic that's going to happen when we go through the process we're going to do, it's kind of like we're becoming that clarifying agent, right? Like the chemical, the shock, or whatever it is that clears up the water. And it's still the same water, but it's better. So I hope that was enjoyable for you to think about there. It was fun for me I like to exercise my mind in that manner too, right? Okay, so we're just really kind of branching off and thinking for ourselves today. So, all right, what we're going to be doing is examining words up close, these terms. And I primarily used the online etymology dictionary in researching these terms. So it's a really cool resource online. So the first word I looked at was chaos. And the way I have always understood chaos has been associated with like too much going on. You know what I mean? Like busyness, like just a full experience or life that's over full, and it's just so full that it's chaotic. Whenever I've said that term chaotic, it's meant too much is going on, right? But the funny thing is, in looking up that term, it's actually related to, and these are the exact words from that website, a gaping void, which is wild. And so when I was talking about the mirroring, it's kind of like, incredible how sometimes we can have the perception of something being totally opposite too, right? So a gaping void, and from the Greek chaos, K-H-A-O-S, an abyss, vast and empty. okay? And then in the 1600s, it's related to utter confusion. And then in the 1530s, related to the book of Genesis in the Bible, chaos is related to the void at the beginning of creation, all right? And this is important for us to remember right here. It's going to tie into the message at the very end of this video, okay? So just try to remember that. Chaos being related to, you know, emptiness and a void and being vast and empty, and specifically the void at the beginning of creation. And also the confused, it's defined as like a confused and formless, orderless confusion, okay? So when you think about formless, that term being related, you know, a narcissist brings about so much chaos when you're entangled with them or engaged with them, you know, in some manner. They bring about chaos, and we talk a lot about how they're always like shapeshifters. And it's like they're volatile with their personality and their emotions, and just every part of them is volatile, and it's like they're continually reinventing themselves. And that's why, because they are essentially formless. They're a void themselves on the inside. They're empty, which is why you hear people talk about the, you know, the look in their eyes. Sometimes it's just like this. It's scary, you know, sometimes. It's just like this deep emptiness and void. All right, so I thought that was really interesting. And then I started thinking about how yesterday I was talking about terms that we throw around about how crazy life can be, specifically because of these manipulative people, cons in the world, and narcissists. How it feels like life can be a circus sometimes, right? And so when I looked up circus, the Latin background of circus is related to a ring or circular line, specifically related to arenas for performances and contests. And I was like, I literally wrote, haha, because yes, that's what a narcissist does. That's why a circus is created. That's why it feels like we're just right in the middle of a circus when we're with these people, because they are performing, they're acting, they're fake, and what we're seeing is their acting, right? They're putting on a performance. And it says in contests, and it's like, yes, they're all about competition. So I just thought that was so like more so closely related than I ever realized. So that was really interesting. And then also another layer of this, of the term circles, the term circus rather, being related to circles, a circular line. If you remember, in my previous video, I had read a little bit out of the book by Emerson, specifically in the section, the essay called Circles. And his point was that, metaphorically speaking, when a human has reached a certain level of understanding and perception in this life, it's like that creates a circle. He was relating that to a circle of understanding and comprehension, and it's like we're confined by that. We can't see beyond that until our circle expands. But until it expands, we're confined within those paradigms that are created at that particular stage of our awareness. And so that's why we can all be, you know, different. And it's like we all have our own unique circles that confine us intellectually, right? It's like just a function of the psyche. And so when we say things like, not my circus, not my monkeys, it's really true, because it's like, that's your circus over there, your circle, your perception of life, your paradigms of life. And what you're essentially saying is, I'm not going to adopt your approach to life. I'm not going to take on this circus that you want me to be a part of. Meaning specifically, your own particular lens of reality because it's twisted, and it's for bad intentions. And these people want to rope us in and make us be a part of that. And so when we say that, not my circus, not my monkeys, there's like a deeper correlation there. I thought that was really cool. And so I just had to share that with you. All right, so I looked up stage, because I had referenced how sometimes we call it the world stage. And that was really interesting too. Because it says a stage is a raised platform for public display. Yes, a narcissist will elevate themselves. And it's for, their acting is for public display, because most of the time the people who are scapegoated and psychologically abused are done so behind closed doors. It's not public display. So everybody else thinks they're a great person. You know what I mean? So, and then I love that whole entire definition there is just spot on. When we just throw around terms like, the world is a stage. It's like, yeah. And we say that when we're, thinking about these people who make it, challenging. These people, meaning narcissistic kind of people who put on a front, who are fake. And that's why, right? A raised platform, remember, they're always elevating themselves for public display. They're always trying to fake everybody off, right? So, and then this was very interesting as well, because it also means, stage means the platform beneath the gallows. And I had to check just to be really sure, but gallows is related to like the structure that's built for hanging a person. And so I thought, wow, because that's exactly, I feel like metaphorically how this goes when a person is trying to front and fake people off. I believe that the truth always comes out at some point, and when it does, that's like a death blow to a narcissist. It's like the greatest mortification ever, for them to be exposed as a con. And so it's kind of like they're doing it to themselves, right? By putting themselves on this raised platform for public display, all they're doing is creating that platform for the gallows, metaphorically. It's just a matter of time before the truth comes out, right? So, and then I looked up the word humble, right? Because that's certainly not part of a narcissist character, right? So this is in total contrast to the raised platform. And I just wanted to take a look at that, right? Because I'm thinking narcissists elevate themselves, and healthy people and people who often get exploited by narcissists and used and abused, are the opposite of trying to self-elevate. And so from Latin, humilis, right, means literally on the ground, right? To humble oneself means to be on the ground, not elevated. And I also like to just take the spin off of this and say a healthy person is also, we say, grounded, right? In other words, there's no need. My point is, when you're not a narcissistic person, there's no need to elevate yourself and put yourself on public display. You see what I'm saying? There's just no need for it. I believe that, when you're walking the path of truth and you're trying to be the best person you can be, and you're always learning and growing, that is the life of humility. And being a humble person, you're staying grounded in that manner, and that's going to separate you. It's going to create that different circle of paradigms that makes you very different from a narcissistic person, right? And then this was my favorite. So I was thinking about this whole activity of examining words up close like this. And the term wordsmith came to me, right? And I thought, intuitively, I know what that means, but I want to look into specifically the smith part of wordsmith. So this is really cool, right? So a smith historically is associated with a blacksmith or an armorer, or one who works in metals, okay? And I want to focus on the part of that means the one who creates armor, right? Armorer. And also the shorter part of that term, SMI, means to cut or work with a sharp instrument. And you know, in the Bible, our tongue is described that way, as a sharp instrument. I forget the specific words used, but that's essentially what it means, right? It can cut. It can cut through lies. It can cut through and convict people living in lies, right? Metaphorically. And it's the truth that does that, then acts as that sword. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, here's the really cool part. Looking up the term smith, right? And remember, it's related to one who creates armor. Well, there was a book in the Middle English Times called the Middle English Psalter, Psalter, yeah, the Middle English Psalter of God, when it's referring to when God created light. Okay, smith, when God created light. So I thought that's so interesting that it both means when God created light, creating light, and also creating armor. There has to be a reason these are correlated. So my takeaway, and I just couldn't wait to share this with you, is that light is the armor. And what is light? What is it? And I just encourage you to find your own definition. But for me, light is the truth, and it's love. And so that is our armor. And if we clothe ourselves in that instead of resentment and trying to create justice ourselves and all the negativity, getting stuck in the muck, thinking we're learning, thinking that we're getting somewhere with, with healing or with moving on with, our new life, why not clothe ourselves in light and love? Intentionally, mindfully, through our actions, and with our mind in every part of us, the way we speak, coming from the lens of the victory. We're literally at this point living the victory when we do this. And that is what creates, in my opinion, the best armor. So I hope that this has been motivational, encouraging, and inspiring for you. I couldn't wait to share that with you. I really enjoyed the process, and I just hope that you did, that you enjoyed it as well, listening to that. And I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you again very soon.